Welcome all to the May 2021 edition of RGN C64 Roundup, your concise summary highlighting many of the latest events and releases in the Commodore 64 scene. As always, we kick things off with this month's feature presentation. Are you old enough to remember those arcade halls in the 1980s? Those dark and dingy places illuminated by bright video screens as a mash of jolly cheerful tunes intermingled with each other across the room. And we were all hard enough to accept second-hand cigarette smoke wafting into our little lungs. Arcade Daze, developed by Artline 64, gives us the opportunity to relive those great times by allowing us to explore and attempt to beat 18 different arcade games in order to become King of the Arcade Hall. As we start the game off, we get to see the arcade hall in all its glory. Littered across the room you will find authentic looking upright arcade cabinets, all waiting for you to pump some tokens into them. Roaming the halls, you'll find a blonde lady named Kelly, who is a current arcade queen, and she's keen to ensure that the crown remains on her head, so you'll need to be sure to avoid her, otherwise you'll end up losing one of your lives. Kelly must have more money than sense, because her pockets are always overfilled with coins, which from time to time will spill out on the floor, waiting for us to sneak by and pick them up so that we can trade them in for game tokens. Also wondering about the place, you'll find a cat that can be a bit of a nuisance, as coming into contact with it will result in you going into a bit of a spin, but won't cost you a life. Playing on Kitty mode, each coin you pick up is worth 5, while in Master mode they are only worth 2. When you have collected enough coins, the token booth in the centre of the hall will start flashing, to indicate that you can exchange them for some game tokens. With tokens in hand, you're ready to play any of the arcade cabinets in the hall. The style of game applicable to each cabinet is indicated via the screen display on the machine. There are 6 genres of arcade games available, each having 3 variants. In addition to the Frogger variants shown on screen, the other genre styles include Pac-Man, Space Invaders, Tank, Centipede, and Lunar Lander. If you fail at a game, then you are booted back out into the arcade hall view without losing any lives, ready to have another go or move on to another machine. Games under Kitty mode are much easier to complete when compared to Master mode, which will often either have more enemies or will require you to do more to complete the game. Also in Master mode, when you've completed 9 cabinets, a second white cat is added to the arcade hall to provide an extra hazard. Arcade Daze also includes a practice mode that allows you to hone your skills if you have any one particular machine that you are finding a bit tricky to complete. When you have beaten a machine, its video screen will be updated with a well done status, and then it's on to the next machine of your choice. For those of you looking forward to Arcade Daze because you loved playing Lazy Jones back in the days, then you're sure to enjoy this modern day interpretation of that classic game. And then there is the music. Arcade Daze provides a pure fun arcade game experience that is sure to prove popular with most gamers. The provision of 2 different difficulty settings means that it's accessible to all gamers while still capable of providing a sturdy challenge to hardened players. Arcade Daze was initially available as a perk under the recent Zap 64 annual Kickstarter, but the good news is that the game will have a general release through Cytronic software in either disc, cassette or digital edition. The game is NTSC and PAL compatible, along with the C64 mini or standard size devices. There has been a swag of pixel art graphics released across the last 4 or 5 weeks, and many of them are quite impressive. Here is a collection that I think you'll find interesting. Cyberpunk Software and Chiptune Records have teamed up again to bring us the second instalment in their original game soundtrack series via Kickstarter. This time around, they are releasing the game soundtracks to Soulless 1 and 2 on a double vinyl, CD and digital download, spanning across 25 haunting chiptunes that have been freshly recorded from original SID files using a real Commodore 64 with 6581 and 8580 SID sound chips. Just take a look at this gorgeous cover art. As an additional perk to the Kickstarter campaign, the Icon 64 team will be releasing a special edition of Soulless, which you can find out more about later on in this roundup. The Soulless 1 and 2 soundtrack campaign will kick off in May, so make sure you follow the Kickstarter page to make sure you don't miss out on backing this great project. Russell Mills is currently working on a fun new downhill ski game called C64. The current work in progress video looks quite promising, with some nice little skier animations, the ability to pull off trick jumps, and 3-directional scrolling giving off a sense of freedom within its gameplay. Ski64 is expected to have at least 2 different gameplay modes, the first being an endless score accumulator where you continue to ski downhill, pulling off trick jumps until the Yeti catches up with you. The second mode will be a story mode of sorts, where you start off at the top of the mountain on a ski resort. Initially, the stage will start off with a basic slalom style of play, and as the game progresses, you disturb the Yeti and your goal turns into escaping down the mountain. Alf Ingve's Kung Fu Maniacs trilogy is now available as a digital download from Cyberpunk Software's itch.io page. The Kung Fu Maniacs series of games were previously only available as a physical disc. The games are developed using a modified version of the shoot 'em up construction kit and look to provide a horizontal scrolling beat 'em up style of play. All 3 games are compatible with the C64 mini and standard size devices and feature some cracking music from Richard Bayless. The latest update on the C64 port of Puzzle Bobble is that the game only has about a week's worth of development left before it's ready. However, this doesn't necessarily mean it will be released in May, as the team works on the project in their spare time. But fingers crossed we can all be playing the game before the next RGN roundup. The RVG Squad has paid homage to the infamous Cassette 50 compilation published by Cascade in 1983 by running a competition designed to produce a brand new compilation tape of minigames. The competition set some tight restrictions around the amount of memory that could be used, but this didn't seem to deter too many coders, as the competition was able to attract 56 submissions. Judging for the competition has been completed, with third spot going to the West Bank inspired Panic in the Bank. While Commodore grabbed second spot with Big Time Bugger. But the winner of the competition was Tiny Bubbles by Pix. You can expect the compilation to be available in physical form via Phoenixware over the next few months. There have been quite a few demos released as part of the recent Transmission 64 party. Here are some of the more notable submissions. Alright, let's take a look at some new releases that you can expect to be available in May. Icon64 will release a special edition of Soulless as part of the upcoming Soulless 1 and 2 original soundtrack Kickstarter. A hybrid of Draconius and Impossible Mission, Soulless is an exploratory platformer that sees you playing the role of a betrayed king who has been transformed into a beast and trapped within a subterranean prison. When a giant earthquake breaks open the prison walls, the king escapes, but to be truly free, he needs to recover his soul. So your mission is to gather the soul stones hidden throughout the underworld in order to regain your humanity and restore peace to your kingdom. The start of the game is where the Draconius influence is dominant, especially from a graphical perspective. And it is here where the first major improvement to Soulless SE is prevalent. The original game had a fixed jumping mechanism that made the game awkward and clunky to play through. Soulless SE features controllable mid-air jumping, and the game becomes instantly more enjoyable to play. The Impossible Mission style of gameplay only becomes obvious when you reach the part of the game where you can start searching objects by pushing up on the joystick, hoping to reveal valuable items such as gold, magic power-ups, and most importantly, one of 12 soul stones. The location of the stones are different with every game you play, and the magic power-ups are required in order to be able to reach a number of searchable items without losing any energy or lives. But collecting the spirit stones themselves will not be sufficient to completing the game, as they need to be placed in a particular order once you have found all 12 stones. So you need to be on the lookout for clues scattered across various rooms that will reveal each stone's order of placement. Here we can see the clue that applies to the first placement slot. Note that this order is randomised with every game. Located at various points within the game world are healing points that restore your energy. In the original version, these points were also respawning spots from where you would restart the game after losing a life, which I always found to be a little frustrating, having to go back a number of screens. Luckily, the special edition version also improves this, as now, when you lose a life, you continue on from the same screen. The special edition also features other changes such as new enemies, updated rooms, and improved spirit stone symbols. Overall, Soulless SE is a marked improvement over the original game, and it's amazing how a couple of small tweaks to the game design can provide such an improved game. Soulless SE has become one of my favourite games from the modern era. Double-Sided Games has finally opened up Don't Break the Balls for pre-orders. We featured the game way back in September 2020, but unfortunately a number of events have conspired to delay the game's release until now. Just to recap, Don't Break the Balls is an arcade puzzle game that sees you controlling a fan at the bottom of the screen with the aim to blow falling bubbles back up in order to prevent them from bursting. Your fan requires energy to blow. Each time you send a gust up, it drains your energy counter, but luckily we can recharge this by moving our fan to the far left or far right of screen. Each bubble has a counter, and the aim is to get them to stay up and away from the spikes at the bottom of the screen until their counter reaches to 0. If you let a bubble hit a spike at the bottom of the column, then it pops and you lose a life. The game features a number of pickups to help us with our objective. When you manage to get every bubble in the level safely to 0, then it's on to the next. Don't Break the Balls offers 30 levels in total, and it's both PAL and NTSC compatible. The game also offers 2-player modes. The 2-player co-op mode sees you and a friend join together in clearing out the levels, while the 2-player duel mode is even better as friends become enemies in a fun arcade competition where the blue fan can only blow blue bubbles, while the red fan only blows red bubbles. A development team called Resistance will soon release Ninja Carnage for the Commodore 64. Ninja Carnage is an interactive story adventure game where your mission is to help a ninja kill the Yakuza boss. To do this, the ninja is going to have to traverse deep into a temple containing supernatural entities, and you are going to need your wits about you if he's going to succeed with his mission. Now, word of warning here, the game story narrative is somewhat irreverent and features very strong language that may offend some. The ninja does not think highly of you or your intelligence, and does not take a step back from letting you know this. While I myself don't have an issue with the crass language used, for the sake of ensuring that this video roundup doesn't get caught up in any issues or complaints against it, I'm going to censor some parts of the story text. The game starts off with a basic tutorial showing you how to guide the ninja's actions throughout the game. Basically, each scene has 9 action zones for you to choose, and it's up to you to select the required actions in the right order. Choose incorrectly and your ninja suffers a highly painful demise. But luckily, Ninja Carnage is designed with a die and retry game structure, which means that when you make the wrong choice, you get to retry again from the current game scene and continue on. At times a quick time event will be thrown your way whereby you need to quickly mimic the direction icons with the corresponding pushes of your joystick. Ninja Carnage was quite refreshing to play through. It's not going to be to everyone's taste, but I personally quite like this style of game, and enjoyed going through the story narrative without the fear that one wrong move will send me all the way back to the start. I must admit, I had a few chuckles at some of the narrative descriptions on offer throughout the game. Yes, they are juvenile at times, but they do kind of give off a late 1990s vibe with the language used. Ninja Carnage is being offered in 7 different languages. In addition to English, there will be French, Italian, Spanish, German, Greek and Polish versions. The game will be available as a free download from the Resistance website. The RGN Roundup is not just about software and magazines. We can also take a look at C64 related gadgets and add-ons. So how about we debut this segment by taking a look at the SIDPlayer Plus by Arananet. The SIDPlayer Plus is a standalone device that allows you to play SID files in PSID format from a micro SD card. The device comes in a cassette case, and as we open it up we can see that it is presented to make it look like a cassette tape. Nice touch. The SIDPlayer Plus is quite thin with a number of its components exposed on the reverse side. I would prefer if this device had some sort of backing to it. Not only would it protect the parts at the back, but it will also allow the device to have a bit more of a cassette feel to it. Anyway, taking a closer look at the SIDPlayer Plus, we can see a row of 3 buttons that function as a previous track, play or pause, and play next. And above these, there are 3 LED lights. To the top left, we see a 3.5mm audio jack. Flipping it over, we find a volume control wheel at the top, while a micro USB port to power the device and a micro SD card slot is situated to the side. Across on the other side, you'll find an on-off switch and a footprint for you to connect a lithium battery to make it a truly portable device. To start listening to your favourite SID tunes, simply copy across the SID files to the root of your micro SD card. The best place to source these files is to go over to the High Voltage SID Collection website and grab the tunes from there. Once you're ready to go, plug everything in and the first track starts to automatically play. It appears that the tracks play in alphabetical order, but some sort of LCD display would be a wonderful addition to this device to help you keep track of what tune is being played. In terms of output, I'd be hard pressed to fault the audio quality. To my uneducated ears, the sound is very good. The SIDPlayer Plus by Arananet is quite a nifty little device that works well. There's room for improvement by having some sort of backing to the device and an LCD screen, but putting these aside, I've been having quite a bit of fun pumping out SID tunes, whether it be through headphones, small speakers, or through my big hi-fi speaker system. The SIDPlayer Plus is only produced in batches of 50, so when pre-orders open up for the device, you need to act fast, as each batch tends to sell out quickly. And that's a wrap on another roundup. I hope you enjoyed this episode and found something of interest for you. Until next time, bye for now.